Heavenly Father, O Lord, bless us and watch over these proceedings tonight, Lord. Give us wisdom and enlighten us in what we should do and how we should go forward. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Okay. Tonight we're having a public hearing, and it is a joint meeting of the Planning Commission and the Richlands Town Council. And I will ask the clerk to correct the heading to read public hearing instead of meeting on the agenda. Thank you. Okay. So I will ask Richard Smith, who is the chairman of the Planning Commission, to take over at this point, because the Planning Commission generally is more is well versed on this, and we thank you very much, Richard.
Thank you. I don't have an agenda in front of me, so I don't know which item is first on your agenda.
Here, I think we have an extra one. Thank you, and I'm sorry. Does everyone else on the commission have an agenda?
Okay.
Do you have an
First
extra
on
one
the
for these?
agenda is a request from Blackstone Data Center. And at this time, we will ask if there's anyone here that wishes to speak on behalf of the data center. Approach the podium. This request is for a use permit in the B2 district of the town of Richlands. This is on the upper end of town here on Front Street and Second Street, where the first and second first level is accessible on Front Street. The second and third level is accessible from Second Street as well. But this is a conditional use permit that would bring this into compliance with what is slated for that area and in the B2 zoning district. Mr. Earls?
Yes, thank you, your friendly neighborhood geek here. That's okay, I don't have any pocket protectors today. Yes, we're planning in this building, which is formerly the News Press building, to bring some new business to town. We're looking at putting in a small data center there and our corporate headquarters for Blackstone Data Services. And we submitted this request, to bring this, and just a little bit of background on the business. Basically, clients paid geeks like me to put computers together for them, and I operate and run them. High-end servers, things like that, things that, like I said, geeks like me love to do. And so we put things together like this for clients, and we just have them there. So basically, it's an office with me and some computers. That's it. My initial, of course, submission and application was rejected, and my initial appeal was actually that instead of being rejected, it really should be under the B2 corporate office instead of having a new use added for this particular use. Normally, I come from the data center world. I've been in the IT business and IT architecture business for 22 years, and most of the centers that I work in actually have a zone of technology zone. And for example, the one in Lebanon at the CGI office, Norfolk Grumman, and all those are in a technology zone. We don't have that here. That limits us on what we can do. If we had a technology zone, we have access to a lot of money. We could put in a lot of stuff here. So ultimately, that's one of my goals, of course, here is to have a technology zone here. But like Lebanon, I figure if they can do it, we can do it, right? But this is just kind of a start to that. And so my first appeal was just to have us go under the corporate office as opposed to adding data center. It's just not specific. Nobody else puts data center specifically in their zone. It's usually a technology zone. But again, you have to have property set aside for that to be a tech zone. There's a lot of requirements for that. In the event that you guys don't agree to that, my second issue that I have is under this conditional use is, we may want to use the first floor of the building. And the way that it reads, it says data centers shall not be allowed on the first street level floor of the building. Currently, we would be going to the second, floor, but in the event that I, want to expand, I want to be able to use the first floor of that building, which is kind of weird because there's two first floors, the Second Street first floor, and then you got, the First Street first floor, which is Bad Axery, so it's the floor right above it. But in the event that we purchase a building here, for example, and there's only one floor, this would preclude me from putting that business in, if it's a quote-unquote data center. So I guess that's my question is there a conditional use permit that I can come to the planning commission and say, hey, I want to use the first floor as a data center? Can I get a permit for that underneath this particular ordinance? That's my concern is I need to be able to use a first floor in the event that the opportunity comes up. So anyway, that's just kind of my thoughts on it. I appreciate you hearing me and considering it. We want to bring this business here. We have this business in other areas. We want to bring it here, and it's something we have a lot of highly qualified people here, even in the tech industry, and we want to be able to bring something here and bring some jobs. So this is the first step of that. So thank you for hearing me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Earls?
I have a question.
Yep.
What's your clientele look like? I'm your fellow
Fellow geek?
Fellow geek. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
All walks of life, different professional services, different businesses. Just like you would retain a lawyer for certain things, you retain geeks like me, to build servers and host things for you. And a lot of times it's access to infrastructure. We have a great asset here, which is our fiber infrastructure that was put in on, several years ago. It was meant for this type of business to be here, to support that by having those fiber rails here. So access to infrastructure and access to the professional services would be kind of what our clients would be looking for.
As far as architect, what are you looking for as far as how much equipment are you putting into the building?
Well, that particular location is not going to be a lot. There's not a lot of power access there, so there's just not much you can do. Primarily, we want our corporate headquarters to be there. Okay. We have a lot of other projects going on, and we want it to be our corporate headquarters, plus my office and things like that. So okay. There's not a lot of power there, unfortunately.
Is that something you would be looking to upgrade in the future?
Potentially, or a larger location. Yeah, depending on the city. Hopefully, you grow big enough where you need a bigger spot. But my concern with the way that this ordinance is if I wanted to upgrade and I need the first floor, I wouldn't be able to do it. I think under this, if you do put this as a conditional use, it needs to be, or whoever, anybody needs to be able to come before you guys and say, hey, we have this situation, we want to put it on the first floor. I understand maybe not wanting to put it there because you want retail establishments, things like that, but there's tons of businesses in town that use the first floor. Like dentists, law offices, chiropractors' offices, none of them have their own type of zone. They're all listed underneath a generic zone, as I think this should be. But in the event that we can't do that, I think we should at least be able to come to you guys and say, hey, we would like for you to consider allowing us to use it on the first floor.
How close are you to capacity on the second floor, what we would call the second floor, for what you currently have?
Well, of course, right now we're not there, so this is impeding my business at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Do you see that? You see that as a potential? And you see that as a possibility? Mm-hmm. Have you identified any potential issues with weight in regards to equipment?
No, not in our
floor?
case. It's not, like I said, it's not that much equipment, really.
Okay.
It's not a lot of stuff. It's a pretty small, when you think about data center,
I've seen some big data centers.
Yeah.
I work at Northrop.
Yeah,
so I've seen the big ones.
you're Northrop there is one of the biggest, so in our area. No, this is not like that.
Okay.
A building like that can't support what I would call a true data center. Now,
Sure.
we were looking at some other options, but, that building certainly can't support a huge operation like that. Like the Northrop building is 110,000 square feet.
Yeah, it's huge.
So,
Craig, you
Yep.
mentioned in the beginning it would just be you and a bunch of computers, but potentially you do envision how many employees would you think you might have?
Yeah, we're not for sure yet. It's like I said, it's a small business, so 5 to 10, is kind of what we're looking at to start with here, and kind of grow it from here as we, kind of gauge, build our clientele and things like that. And we need, more people. So hopefully much more. I hope.
Well, 5 to 10 is 5 to 10
Yeah.
jobs that people don't have right now.
Yeah.
What would those jobs be right now? What is it like?
Good question. Primarily hardware
Okay,
and software. So physically, like one of the challenges right now, just like with anything in the U.S. right now, it's hard to get equipment. I mean, it takes a very specialized person with knowledge to be able to get a lot of, to be able to get the right equipment put together. And so it's, people that can put the equipment together, the operating system software, some programming skills, scripting skills. So it's a pretty techie, it's a techie job.
Sure.
I have a question. Thank you for coming, Craig. I'm interested in the actual zoning, and I have the letter that John sent to Seth. It says your zoning permit application to operate a business at 1216 2nd Street has been denied. This request does not meet the use regulations as required by the town's land use ordinance found in Chapter 154, Section 071 for this B2 general business zone. And he explains it has been maybe appealed. Well, I haven't read all that. I know you sent all those inserts. What was the reason for the denial?
When I looked at the interpretation of office space, my concern was that if they do expand, and let's say the bad actuary grows and they buy their own building, then this business could potentially expand to your downtown, your first floor businesses where traditionally you would want your foot traffic, your businesses that you require that foot traffic. And the zoning for B2 states that the public must have frequent access to these businesses, and this business doesn't really require that. So I didn't feel like I wanted to be the one that kind of decided if we're going to allow this type of business in your storefronts that are traditionally more foot traffic. And if that's something that the planning commission or council, I wanted to have some input from both boards before you said, yep, you can do it. I just want to make sure we weren't opening a door with that interpretation to potentially losing storefronts.
Okay, thank you. That's my question. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions?
They're free today.
All right, thank you, Craig.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the audience that would like to speak? Seeing none, is there a motion to close this public hearing? Motion's been made by Randy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Barry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will now move on to the public hearing on Lucky Duck, which will be located in what is known as the old Richlands Mall building. This is a application for a vape shop and online gambling. And this would be, according to the public notice, this would be a conditional use of business application that's submitted by Daniel Smith on this property located at 2940 Clint Street. And this would come into a public hearing as in regards to an entertainment facility that's within the town limits and not necessarily slated for this particular use. Is there someone here from Lucky Duck that'd like to address the hearing? Mr. Smith?
So basically we're trying to run a vape shop, and we do have the gaming machines in there. They're known as pre-reveals. I can't tell you much more about that, but most of the gas stations up here have them in it already. So they're already operating, and they're fully legal right now. So there's nothing against the law that's preventing us from running them while we open our vape shop. Now, I think they're having a hearing in May, so if the law changes and they're deemed illegal, then we would remove them out and we'd still run our vape shop. So really, I'm just here trying to get my vape license.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Smith?
I have only one. Thank you for coming first. And it's strictly about zoning, okay? It says type of business vape and internet cafe. So is that what an internet cafe is? I don't know.
Well, we just call it that. What we do with the games, our games aren't like the ones in the gas station, but they're the same software. So they're essentially the same, but ours are run more on a desktop with a keypad and a mouse. And what you would do is you go to the counter and you would buy airtime and go back to your screen. You could play it, or you choose not to. I mean, it's totally up to the customer if they want to play or not.
Okay.
It's just a different form of cashing in and cashing out.
Okay, thank you.
So we don't have anything like this here other than, like you said, in the gas
In the
station?
gas station, correct, yes.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Are there any differences between the ones in the gas stations and the ones that you would have?
The only difference would be the physical structure. The ones in the gas station are called stand-ups. They stand about this tall, and you stand up, play them, or sit in a chair and play them. And ours are more software capable. They're in computer towers, and they play on a TV screen monitor. And we can change from pre-reveal. There's several different types the way the games are played. There's pre-reveal, there's second chance, and there's another one, I'm not sure what it is, but pre-reveal is the one that's legal right now. That's the software you can run, so that's what we changed all our software to.
What's your hours of operation?
But it'd be in compliance with the city, of course, but a standard place probably runs somewhere from 9, 10 in the morning to 2 in the morning, past midnight.
My understanding with the Virginia Gaming Commission that these machines can be operated 24/7.
Correct. Some places, yes.
But is that what you foresee, or
I don't really think that will run 24/7. Just from being in Bluefield, they have gaming rooms in Bluefield, and they don't really run those kind of hours. So we try to stay around what we think the people will play and whatever.
And that is part of the conditional use. We can orchestrate the hours
Correct.
as well with this, with the approval tonight. We can set the hours, my understanding, that of operation.
I guess my question would be, can we override a state law that allows them to be 24/7 by restricting Mr. Smith to his hours of operation?
I wouldn't even think that would be necessary. If you had a set line that you wanted me to go with, I would do that.
I didn't want to get into the fact, that I don't know what the hours the planning commission has decided on, but I didn't want to get into the problem that you have to come back and have the conditional use change, permit
Yes, sir.
change to allow you to have more hours.
So you plan to open tentatively till 2 a.m. in the morning. Do you plan on serving alcohol?
No, sir.
Okay.
We will provide soft drinks and snacks, and maybe around 7 o'clock we provide like a meal like pizza or hamburgers or something from a local restaurant. That'd be about it. No charge.
So what if we want to come for pizza and not the game?
You can come for pizza.
Okay.
Keep it light there.
Anyone else have any questions? Thank you, Mr. Smith. Is there anyone else from the audience that would like to address the hearing? 21, yeah. Yeah, the age limit's 21. Anyone else?
Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to address this public hearing?
Ms. Malloy?
Like I said, with bad accident, I just hope you guys will consider
Yes.
You know, I'm not from here.
If you don't mind to come to the podium, I should have asked when we did it, so we can hear you clearly. Thank you.
Yeah, I would just like, to state, I'm not from here, I'm from Alabama. But I do have friends up here. A lot of y'all know one of them, Lead Eye. And the reason that you're probably asking yourself, why is he coming here? Because usually you find these places in a more populated area, like a lot higher. So they have been begging me forever to come up here. So there's just not a lot to do, and he said it's not just me and my poker buddies, it's everybody. They're looking for something to do. And last year, I was up here for about 4 months every week, trying to get open and doing whatever I could. And I've been all the way to Tazewell, to Bluefield, to Gundy, and I tell everybody about it, and they were all excited. They were looking forward to this. So, I mean, if that means anything, I'd just like y'all to know that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Important question. Are you in Alabama or Auburn team?
Be
War
very
Eagle.
Oh, no.
That would be on the Chick-fil-A Bowl a couple years.
Anyone else? Blake?
So I was going to talk about this at the council meeting, but I have something else to talk about here in around 5 minutes.
Can you come to the podium?
Yeah, sure. So you have heard two examples of businesses that are having some issues getting open due to, one, outdated zoning laws. They haven't been updated since 2013. There's a lot of new things that have happened since 2013 that aren't going to be considered in those because technology's improved. I mean, who the heck would have ever thought we would be sitting here talking about, legalized gaming in the town of Richlands on a computer system? The technology wasn't there in 13, so it was never going to be able to be taken into consideration. So we have to look at that. The second thing that we have to look at, which is very important, is the process in which we're able to approve these businesses that may not be covered under, our current zoning guidelines. You guys are going to talk about charter changes. I saw on the agenda. It's very important that you guys really look at the process and the procedural zoning, or the procedural law that was highlighted under the existing charter change. Seth White and I have had numerous conversations about this, and he's exactly 100% correct. It should not take up to 120 days for something to be approved. And all you have to do is change the procedure in which it's approved, right? I mean, it's directly impacting the current business community, and what really scares me about this is with the influx of capital that's getting ready to come in regarding Project Jonah, you've got a $350 million investment. Now, there's going to be secondary and tertiary businesses that are going to come from that. Well, where are they going to go if we say, hey, Mr. Solar Farm that's going to supply power to the fish farm, sorry, it's going to take us 120 days to get your approval done. They're going to go right across the county line to Russell County and generate revenue in that county, and we're going to lose out. So, here's two great examples where I really wish everyone would take into consideration what the procedure looks like and make it easier to do business here. Because if not, we're going to lose out on a lot of stuff. I said, a couple of years ago in June, we're about 5 years from being War, West Virginia, and McDowell County. We got to stop it. So that's all I had to say.
Thanks, Blake. Someone else? Do we have a motion to close the public hearing in this matter? Motion's been made by Barry, second. Michelle. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We thank you tonight for your attention.
Richard, if you would if the planning commission would like to recess into the conference room to discuss it and come back with a recommendation to council, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this closes the public hearing for the council and the planning commission. And we've got, I think, about a couple of minutes. Is that right? Okay. Thank you.
I got time to go with them, or what? Do I need to?
No, you need to, Jeff, because you're.
I was gonna say, I thought
I did not get over here.
Somebody come from their staff if you want to mention that in your report.
D. Turner. Okay.
And these are some changes on the original. That number should have just been saved as a head.
Secure John.
Well, I'll start with that.